Happy New Year's Eve. My apologies for being late. I was with my dad. How are you? I'm so grateful that you're here. I had to rush a little bit, so I need to get my refreshment. Maybe plural, maybe refreshments. What we're going to do tonight is kind of an amalgam of different things. So, thank you about my dress. So what I'd like you to do is just kind of talk amongst yourselves, and I'm going to get a couple things together. I think I'm going to switch out this chair and just say hi to everyone. I'm the hostess. So grab a drink, grab some snacks. Happy almost New Year. So it's the new year in Europe, different parts of the world. It is get your party going. That's what I'm doing. Get your party going on. Okay, so I want y'all to bear with me because I'm going to be jumping up and down a little bit. I just came from visiting my dad. It will be the last New Year's Eve ever with him. So it was really nice to be with him. Let's begin. And I'm going to just read some things to you. We're going to do some energy shifting. We're going to do some intending. We're going to do some partying. We're going to do some gratitude. And if you like, you can use this time to, if you have a piece of poster board lying around, my mom's doing okay. Thank you for asking. Appreciate that. If you have some poster board lying around, if you have some old magazines lying around, you can, or even just a notepad. We're not going back, I like it. Even just a notepad. So just really take in the energy of this time that we're in. And you can write down your intentions, or you can make a little vision board. And I'm going to read a little bit from this intentional prayer book. This is one of my most greatest teachers, Toni Stone, who's no longer with us. I mention her frequently. She was a spiritual prosperity teacher out of Vermont. Her husband still sends lots of pages of writings from her. We're going to start with We Give Thanks for Protection. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to read from some of the most impactful spiritual books and teachers ever. I'm going to move this over because I have some candles going. We have some white light happening. Yes, we do. White candles are in order. And I got the message today to share with you to burn candles carefully, but burn candles. White candles. Get the white light going on. If you don't have it for tonight, then tomorrow. Oh, and while I'm here, Happy New Year! Good, Rose is going to go ahead and light some white candles now. So if you have some white candles, light some white candles. I want this one to fall over. If you have other color candles, that's fine too. From Tony Stone, deep breath. Any kind of candle will do. Just focus on the light. God is with us now. In trust and thankfulness, we inhere in God's care. Nothing can harm us, neither tangible forces of the material world nor fear of things unseen. God's love protects us. God's love surrounds us. We know and express divine justice. We are sustained and strengthened. We enjoy clearness of vision, strength of limb, soundness of mind, balance of body. God's wholeness is within us. We are at peace. Paths open to us where we couldn't see them before. We are kept from harm and confusion. Those who are with us are uplifted also. God's love is wide. God's power is eternal. We walk confidently, and this is so. All right. I'm going to read you a quote from Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Just so you know, I've done this gathering. This is like the third or fourth year that I've done this. Maybe the third year. And I just open to what it feels like I should open to. So this is what I have here. People acting together as a group accomplish things no individual alone could ever hope to accomplish. That's Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And let's go with some affirmations. Yeah, fake candles are fine. Just bring on the light. Clear choices are now being made. Clarity is the beginning of empowering an idea to manifest. What can be envisioned can be created together with others. Success happens when we make failure impossible. Decisive today, we are responsible with resolutions. We have the contribution of others in this planning process. Let's do a little bit of a process. Now, I borrowed this from, there's a spiritual book, well, I call it a spiritual book, called The Dragon Doesn't Live Here Anymore, and it must have been 30 or so years ago, because it was when I was learning from Tony Stone, that I came across this book by Alan Cohen. I believe it's Cohen. I don't have that book right now, but I happened to come across a video from him today. And he gave a little technique and a process. And by the way, The Dragon Doesn't Live Here Anymore is a great book. It's really highly motivating and very clarifying. It's from like 1990 probably. So Alan Cohen did a video, and he was leading us through a process. I just happened across it, and the process was very brief and very powerful, I thought, and it's about letting go of what we don't want anymore. So we're going to do that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and borrow it from him, because as far as I'm concerned, if somebody has something good from me, they can share it as much as they want. It's for everybody. We're all channels, right? So, I'm just going to get a little bit closer. I know the sound was a little bit wonky. Is the sound okay? I noticed the mic on my iPad was a little bit low last night for PNN. So let's close our eyes, and I'm going to lead you through this process. But first I want you to think about something. It's a very brief process. Think about something that you want to let go of. Okay? I got a couple things. Thank you for letting me know the sound is fine. Things that you want to let go of. Okay? Let's just pick one though. Pick one biggie that you want to let go of. And close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it, and a longer breath out. Deep breath in and hold it, and a longer breath out. You can go at your own pace. Just remember, deep, deep breath in, deeper than you think you can breathe in. Hold it for a few seconds, and an even longer exhalation. Imagine that you are holding in your hand a helium balloon, like the kind of balloon you'd find at a birthday party. And you have a Sharpie in your hand, a magic marker, and you've decided that you're going to write on this helium balloon what you would like to release. And imagine yourself writing on the balloon. You can imagine the color of the balloon, the size of the balloon. You're just taking that marker and you're writing what it is that you are releasing. Get that in your vision, what it is you're releasing. And now, as soon as you're finished writing, let go of the balloon and let it go up into the air, way, way up. Watch it getting smaller and smaller and smaller till it starts to disappear. And feel yourself letting go. Feel the shift in your energy of letting that go, just sending it away. And feel the feeling of yourself in your life without that burden. You're just giving it back to the universe. You're finished with it. Its job is done. The helium balloon has become so tiny you can't see it. It's gone forever. Really feel it released from your energy. And remind yourself right now that you're going to think about this exercise often. I released that onto the balloon. I released it up to the universe. I let it go already. Feel the sensation in your being of not having that anymore. No longer carrying that in your life. You're finished with it. It's time for it to go. And now let's do another process. Once again, this is by Alan Cohen in a video I saw today. I thought it was excellent. Imagine your most undesirable issue or situation in your life. And think about how often it's on your mind and how often you're always trying to analyze it, problem solve it. It's just a thing and it has a charge to it. And imagine that is inside of an appliance like a toaster oven. That thing, that situation, that thing that just bothers you so often in your life. Just think of it as connected to an electrical outlet, kind of baking in there. If you imagine a toaster oven, it's there. And it's baking. Okay, now we're going to do this. Unplug it. That situation, that thought form, that thing that you no longer want, you have just unplugged it from being a charged issue anymore. shall you ever think about it again, what you will do is you'll remind yourself, that's not a charged issue for me anymore. I pulled the plug on that issue. It's gone forever. I no longer get triggered. I'm not plugged into that anymore. I've unplugged my emotional, electrical energy even from that thought form, that situation, whatever it might be. It's just not charged up anymore. It's lost its power. And now feel the feeling of you being in your life without that issue. And when you feel ready, remembering that feeling of being free, you can open your eyes and have a drink. Are you guys talking in the chat? You're supposed to be closing your eyes. I'm just joshing. It's New Year's Eve. It's time to party. You can do whatever you want. I'm having my fake beer. Did you like that process? I thought that was extremely powerful, and the thing that I thought was really powerful, that made it so powerful, was that it was so simple. Right? Did you feel that? The reason I'm glad I remembered to share it with you. The reason I'm sharing it with you tonight is that it really worked for me. It was incredible. Yeah. So maybe if you find yourself getting back into that place, because it's kind of a process, just remember those visualizations. The balloon and the thing that's being, you're giving it energy, because when we think about things, we give them energy, right? You feel 10 pounds lighter. Good, I like the testimonials. Let's ring a bell. Good job. We're not day drinking. This is non-alcoholic beer. Athletic Brew. If you like microbrews, I've bragged about it a lot, about how good it is. Okay, you felt the release with both issues. Excellent. All right, and I want to mention too that I know that we're going through a lot in this country, but we're going to get through it, because we're not going to have a monster. We're not going to have a monster in the White House. Okay, we'll just say that for now. Okay, so I'm going to read to you from an author named Sark. Anybody familiar with Sark? Okay, these books are mostly from the 90s. Mostly. A Creative Companion. And I used to have this on my wall, a poster of this, okay? And Sark, that's her pen name. And she writes books. I've shared this with a lot of my clients and people I do readings for. The book is very, very colorful and very, you release worry, excellent. I love that idea. Very, very childlike, very, very playful. So what I'm going to read, you have the book, you can read along. Yep, Barbara, we talked about that. How to be an artist. Now, before I read it, I just want to tell you, if you don't play an instrument, and if you don't draw or paint, and if you don't write, if you don't do those things, doesn't matter. You still create all the time. You're always creating. How to be an artist. Ready? Really take these in. Stay loose. Are you ready? Get loose. Get loose right now. Learn to watch snails. Plant impossible gardens. Invite someone dangerous to tea. Make little signs that say yes and post them all over your house. I love that. Do you remember that movie called by Jim Carrey, with Jim Carrey, where he said yes to everything? Make little signs that say yes and post them all over your house. Make friends with freedom and uncertainty. Look forward to dreams. Cry during movies. Swing as high as you can on a swing set by moonlight. Cultivate moods. Refuse to be responsible. Do it for love. Take lots of naps. Give money away. Do it now. The money will follow. Believe in magic. How many of you believe in magic? How many of you believe in mystical magic? I do. Laugh a lot. Celebrate every gorgeous moment. Take moon baths. Have wild imaginings. I like that one. Wild imaginings, transformative dreams, and perfect calm. Draw on the magic. Oh no, draw on the walls. I like draw on the magic too. Read every day. Imagine yourself magic. Giggle with children. That's a lot of fun. You believe in mystical magic, right? Listen to old people. Open up. Dive in. Be free. Bless yourself. Drive away fear. Play with everything. Entertain your inner child. You are innocent. Build a fort with blankets. Get wet. Hug trees. Write love letters. I like it. Get a good belly laugh going with babies. That's a lot of fun. I've got 3 grandnephews. And there's another on the way. I don't know if it's a nephew or a niece. Let me just read you one more thing. Robert Fulghum, who wrote All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. I don't have that book, but that sounds like a good one. Robert Fulghum, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Touch the place in all of us that wants to nap and play and feel creatively free. Just for one day, hide all the clocks in your house. This was written in the 90s, so it's kind of hard. We have devices that always tell us what time it is, right? Compliment yourself constantly. How about that for a New Year's resolution? I'm going to compliment myself constantly. Take a piece of paper over the TV screen and write ideas for brand new shows on it or on your computer or iPad. It's okay that you're late, Brian. We're going for 2 hours. Visit every tree near you and spend time memorizing the branches. Hey, Damon. Happy New Year. Spend $20 on magazines and read them all at once. Repression. Repression is poison to creativity. The longer you repress or suppress, whatever it is, the more stuffed down it becomes. Then you learn the negative self-talk, rationalizing and delaying that prevent creative expression. Other people are artistic, not me, we might say. I don't have time now. It never looks the way I want. Anything I write is garbage. I may as well just give up. I need to earn money first. I've waited too long now. Who cares? I could never sing. I can't draw a straight line. These are things that we say to ourselves, right? Some of them, at least. To this, I will let Martha Graham reply. Now, this is one of my favorite quotes, too. Listen to Puff the Magic Dragon. I like it. Just do it already, right? Take this in. If you haven't heard it, this is awesome. If you have heard it, it's always worth rereading this. This is Martha Graham, who is a famous choreographer. And just listen to this. I've read it before at Church of Spirituality. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. Because there's only one of you in all of time, this expression, you, is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how valuable, nor how it compares with other people's expressions. It is your business to keep it yours, clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. Whether you choose to take an art class, keep a journal, record your dreams, dance your story, or live each day from your own creative source, above all else, keep the channel open. That's by Martha Graham. Keep the channel open. If we don't do our unique thing that we do, the world will never have it. The world will never have it. We don't want that. Okay, so in the spirit of, remember I said at the start, or if you're just joining us, what I said was this is a great opportunity tonight to write down things that you want to bring into the new year. We just did a releasing little exercise. So I'm going to give you some suggested words that you might want to bring into the new year. Thank you for being here. Also, I'm open to receiving donations. It's the end of the year. I've worked really hard this year, so I really appreciate your generosity tonight. I just want to say, I like to give where I receive, so I hope that you feel moved and don't feel any pressure. I just wanted to say. Do you like my fireworks? I caught those for last year's New Year's Eve event from my old office. Progress. Choose a word or words that describe you or how you'd like to be described, or make up your own words. So I'm going to, thank you, Warren. I'm going to give you a list of suggested words that you might want to use for going into the new year. You can find your own, but I'm just going to throw out these suggestions. I'll read them slowly, so in case you want to write them down. Amazing. Thank you, Zircon. Ecstatic, wild, endearing, brave, truthful, angelic, fascinating, sensitive, kind, wise, funny, rare, insightful. Thank you. Grateful, radiant, energetic, peaceful, star-filled, creative. Damon's going nuts. Imaginative, pioneering, blessed, blissful, joyful, charming, funny. Oh, and once again, we have angelic twice on this list. Angelic. Yes, I know angelic appears twice. We need more angels. So that's a creative companion. Excellent, excellent, excellent book. Okay. If you're just joining us, this has become a New Year's Eve tradition here, where I just choose from my bookshelf books that have made, spiritual books that have made a huge impact on my life, throughout my life. When I lived in Nashville, I was in, various spiritual circles, and I had this one friend in the music business, and he would always say to me, Annette, you need to read fiction, because all my books are like about spiritual stuff and self-help. Hey, it's just my thing. It's just my thing. So I'm going to turn to, let's see, there's a book called Spiritual Boot Camp that I just had in my hand. I guess I'm not supposed to read from that one just yet. I'm going to read this one. See how Spirit does that? It was right in front of me. No, read this one. Does anyone know this book? Illusions by Richard Bach, who also wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull. My dad used to listen to Neil Diamond. That's a really great, great album. Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Good one to pull out on New Year's Eve maybe and blast it. Jonathan Livingston Seagull is a beautiful little story. This was after he wrote that one. And I don't know if anybody of you remember that Neil Diamond wrote a soundtrack to that. This book begins with a little parable story. Oh, if you don't know this book, You need to get this book. It's very old. It's from 1980, I believe. I found it on Thrift Books. It's one of those that you kind of lose along the way. 1977. All right? I'll read a little bit about Richard Bach. He says at the beginning, it was a question I heard more than once. After Jonathan Seagull was published, what are you going to write next, Richard? After Jonathan, what? That was a huge success of a book. I answered then that I didn't have to write anything next, not a word, and that all my books together said everything that I had asked them to say. Having starved for a while, the car repossessed and that sort of thing, it was fun not to have to work to midnights. Still, every summer or so I took my antique biplane out into the green meadow seas of Midwest America, flew passengers for $3 rides, and began to feel an old tension again. There was something left to say and I hadn't said it. I do not enjoy writing at all. If I can turn my back on an idea out there in the dark, if I can avoid opening the door to it, I won't even reach for a pencil. Isn't that funny? But once in a while, there's a great dynamite burst of flying glass and brick and splinters through the front wall, and somebody stalks over the rubble, seizes me by the throat, and gently says, I will not let you go until you set me in words on paper. That's how I met Illusions. Illusions is it's a little story that Richard Bach made up. It's about a master who came to Earth and he worked as a mechanic, but he had superpowers like Jesus had, and he's like your modern day mystic Jesus. And you got to get the book. It has some wonderful quotes. So I'm going to read you the beginning part. This little parable. There was a master come unto the earth, born in the holy land of Indiana, raised in the mystical hills east of Fort Wayne. The master learned of this world in the public schools of Indiana, and as he grew in his trade as a mechanic of automobiles. But the master had learnings from other lands and other schools, from other lives that he had lived. He remembered these, and remembering became wise and strong, so that others saw his strength and came to him for counsel. The master believed that he had power to help himself and all mankind, and as he believed, so it was for him, so that others saw his power and came to him to be healed of their troubles and their many diseases. The master believed that it is well for any man to think upon himself as a son of God, and as he believed, so it was, and the shops and garages where he worked became crowded and jammed with those who sought his learning and his touch, and the streets outside with those who longed only that the shadow of his passing might fall upon them and change their lives. It came to pass, because of the crowds, that the several foremen and shop managers bid the master leave his tools and go his way, for so tightly was he thronged that neither he nor other mechanics had room to work upon the automobiles. So it was that he went into the countryside, and people following began to call him Messiah and worker of miracles, and as they believed, it was so. If a storm passed as he spoke, not a raindrop touched a listener's head. The last of the multitude heard his words as clearly as the first, no matter lightning nor thunder in the sky about, and always he spoke to them in parables. And he said unto them, within each of us lies the power of our consent to health and to sickness, to riches and to poverty, to freedom and to slavery. It is we who control these and not another. A millman spoke and said, easy words for you, master, for you are guided as we are not, and need not toil as we toil. A man has to work for his living in this world. The master answered and said, once there lived in a village of creatures along the bottom of a great crystal river. The current of the river swept silently over them all, young and old, rich and poor, good and evil, the current going its own way, knowing only its own crystal self. Each creature in its own manner clung tightly to the twigs and rocks of the river bottom, for clinging was their way of life, and resisting the current, what each had learned from birth. But one creature said at last, I am tired of clinging. Though I cannot see it with my eyes, I trust that the current knows where it is going. I shall let go and let it take me where it will. Clinging, I shall die of boredom. The other creatures laughed and said, Fool, let go, and that current you worship will throw you tumbled and smashed across the rocks, and you will die quicker than boredom. But the one heeded them not, and taking a breath, did let go, and at once was tumbled and smashed by the current across the rocks. Yet in time, as the creature refused to cling again, the current lifted him free from the bottom, and he was bruised and hurt no more. And the creatures downstream, to whom he was a stranger, cried, See, a miracle! A creature like ourselves, yet he flies. See the Messiah come to save us all. And the one carried in the current said, I am no more Messiah than you. The river delights to lift us free, if only we dare let go. Our true work is this voyage, this adventure. But they cried the more, Savior, all the while clinging to the rocks. And when they looked again, he was gone, and they were left alone, making legends of a Savior. He let go. All right. Did you catch all that? I highly recommend the book. Cheers! Let's read something else. This is a very old edition of You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I already mentioned that what Sark wrote here, I used to have this poster. You can probably still get it. How to Be an Artist, or you could just copy it. This is from Sark. Yeah, Louise Hay is a great book. I used to have that hanging on my wall many years ago. And this also I used to have hanging on my wall. And it is this by Louise Hay. So what I'd like you to do, yep, some of you have these books, which is great. I probably recommended them to some of you. If you wish, you can close your eyes and take this in as an affirmation. Okay? Hey, Marby. Good to see you all tonight. It's such a pleasure to be together. It's like I'm having a New Year's Eve party, but it's virtual. And I can feel all your happy energy. This is from You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. It's at the end of this book. And just so you know, this is such an old edition. The new editions wouldn't probably look anything like this. Deep at the center of my being, there is an infinite well of love. I now allow this love to flow to the surface. It fills my heart, my body, my mind, my consciousness, my very being, and radiates out from me in all directions and returns to me multiplied. The more love I use and give, the more I have to give. The supply is endless. The use of love makes me feel good. It is an expression of my inner joy. I love myself, therefore, I take loving care of my body. I lovingly feed it nourishing foods and beverages. I lovingly groom it and dress it, and my body lovingly responds to me with vibrant health and energy. I love myself, therefore I provide for myself a comfortable home, one that fills all my needs and is a pleasure to be in. I fill the rooms with the vibration of love, so that all who enter, myself included, will feel this love and be nourished by it. I love myself, therefore I work at a job that I truly enjoy doing, one that uses my creative talents and abilities, working with and for people that I love and that love me, and earning a good income. I love myself, therefore I behave and think in a loving way to all people. For I know that that which I give out returns to me multiplied. I only attract loving people in my world, for they are a mirror of what I am. I love myself, therefore I forgive and totally release the past and all past experiences, and I am free. I love myself, therefore I love totally in the now, experiencing each moment as good and knowing that my future is bright and joyous and secure. For I am a beloved child of the universe, and the universe lovingly takes care of me now and forevermore, and so it is. If you read that every day, your entire life would change. Louise. Let's do another brief meditation. Close your eyes. We're going to do another brief meditation. We're going to bring in the love, okay? And so it is. So close your eyes. Deep breath in and hold it, and a longer breath out. And just get still. And in the stillness, just ask yourself this simple question. Don't overthink it. Where do I need to be more loving towards myself? We're going to bring that into the new year. Where do I need to be more loving towards myself? Where have I been critical of myself, angry at myself, making fun of myself, putting myself down? Where in my life have I not been loving towards myself? And let the thoughts just float into your mind. Maybe they're right there. You can ask your guides to help you to see where maybe it's so habitual you don't even realize you're being critical of yourself and judgmental. Where have I been not loving towards myself in my life? And if you want to, you can put your hands over your heart and just tell yourself, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I've been mean to you. I don't know why I'm mean and critical and judgmental to you, self. Perhaps it's just habits I learned growing up. But I know it's not helpful. And I'm sorry, self, that I have failed to love you. And here on this New Year's Eve 2024, with just a few hours left to the year, I promise to the best of my ability that I will stop that behavior, and I will treat myself like a beautiful, innocent child who's doing the best that they can. That's what makes the most sense. I will strive to compliment myself, to cheer myself on, to be my own biggest fan, and especially I will strive to know that I am a lovable human being because I exist. I forgive myself for being mean to myself. I'm sorry. And from this point forward, I will make a conscious effort to be my own best, most loving friend. And so it is. And really feel that commitment I'll be gentle. I'll be more flexible. I'll be more forgiving. And I'll give myself a break. And I'll cut myself some slack when I'm being too harsh. Only love, only love, only self-love. Just like Louise Hay said, and when I'm filled up with love, it just pours out to others and heals the world. You're a blessing. When you're ready, you can bring your hands down if you have your hands on your heart. Wasn't that lovely? I hope you're feeling transformed, at least a little bit. I'm going to pull a fairy card. I have another deck. I'm going to pull a little fairy card. I'm working one day a week at a store in Salem, in Salem, Mass, and these cards kind of jumped off the shelf. They don't want to open. Those fairies are being stubborn. Let's pull the store is called Artemisia Botanicals, and I also likely will be kind of on call to another store called Crowhaven Corner. The botanical store is where I get my tea that I read tea leaves with. Oh, and this deck is called, it's not a tarot deck, it's called Fairy Forest. I've seen this artwork before, it's really beautiful. So we're going to pull a fairy for the new year. A fairy for the new year. Have we really been here for 49 minutes? It's just like, really? Seems like I've been here for half an hour. All right. Thank you, David. No, this is not, no, it's not that store. This Crowhaven Corner, I may also be doing some shifts there, but this other store needed somebody more immediately. We need each other, yes. People are wondering, what? If I have any pets? Why are they wondering if I have any pets? If I had pets, you'd probably know. You haven't seen Mark Spirit Whisperer? I don't know who that is. Okay, so let's pull a fairy card for 2025. Why are you all asking me about pets? Staying on topic. All right. The Elven Touch. Okay, this is for 2025. Here we go. Recovery, comeback, revival. You heard it here. Oh no, I don't know who that is. Sorry. All right, I'm trying to stay on topic here. We'll get to that. The card for 2025. If you want to take a screenshot. Recovery, comeback, revival. Michael, you're so funny. It's like, you guys know I'm an open book. But the Scorpio makes me keep a little corner of my life, you know, to myself. I think everybody needs that. It's nothing like, I'm not hiding anything. Well, what do you think of that? Recovery, comeback, revival for 2025. I like it. At least it's not the knife card. No, these are nice cards. Hey, John, good to see you. Happy New Year. I'm going to read you from the little book that came with this. So, sorry, I can't hold it up and, oh, maybe I can. It's number 8. I'll hold it up. Hang on a second. Here we go. This is what it says for the new year. Recovery, comeback, revival. There are some who walk among us who have healing capabilities In the fairy forest, this is known as having the elven touch. When this card comes to you, you are being offered the assistance of this elven touch, a healing touch of energy that transfers to you some of the gift of immense good health, which aids immediately in your recovery. This transferal of magical energy from the elves offers you a spark of vitality, that luminous quality that helps us to awaken each day, refreshed and ready, with renewed enthusiasm, vigor, and optimism. The elven ones are now stilling themselves and gathering their energy to send to you when you are ready to receive. All right, so this is a card for the collective. It's more. Some of this is. It sounds like if you're given a personal reading, but this is what we're heading into in the new year. Nice. I like it. I'm feeling good. And just so you guys all know, it doesn't even matter what I'm listening to on YouTube. It doesn't even matter if I'm reading the Chiron and the YouTube on the YouTube channel, even if it's a pro-democracy channel. I turn it right off as soon as they mention anything that has to do with a terrible, horrible person being in charge of this country. I just turn it off. Somebody giving dad jokes, and I really want to encourage you all to do the same. Okay. Are you leaving, Michael? What are you saying? It's hard for me to follow the chat. Oh, good. You're meditating every day. Excellent. I apologize if I'm missing what you're saying. Just bear with me. I'm so grateful that you're all here. Yes, so I just want to really share that emphatically. Whenever all thought is creative. So whenever you hear somebody say something about a horrible monster being in charge of this country or anything to do that, off it goes. Promise me. Really important. And I have been, over the past few weeks, really, and especially over the Christmas season, I'm only listening to spiritual teachings online, prayers. I told you how much I was into all the Christmas services that happened, all the Christian services that were happening. I am constantly being told, no. My guides are really emphatic and really strong, so I'm passing that on to you. No. You know that scene in Lord of the Rings, the first one? Tell me if you remember this. When Gandalf is facing the dark force, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings person, but I just remember when the dark force was coming at him, Gandalf, and he's in that cave, and they're like on this kind of like an outcropping in the cave, and the darkness is trying to get in. And Lord of the Rings, and Gandalf, and he's saying, "You shall not pass." Right? I was going to say cross. Is it pass? You shall not pass. If you get nothing out of tonight, and I hope you get a ton out of tonight, take that. You shall not cross. The evil shall not get in and destroy this nation and this world. It's not happening. My guides have been screaming at me. Don't listen to any talk about what you don't want and what's not right. And then visualize exactly what you want to happen and work on letting go of all your doubts and all your fears. The dark side wants you afraid. As soon as you get afraid, remember that scene? I'm gonna watch the movie again. As soon as the dark side has you afraid, you're weak. It's not happening, amen. And I just want you to know that the evil is very much a thing. We see it. We know about it, okay? It's not fake. The demonic is not fake. It's real. but the light and the divine is exponentially more. There's not even a contest. The only way the darkness can get in is if it freaks you out. Has my spirit team told me what's going on with this weird fog? Global climate change. Do you know what happens when the inside of your car is warmer than the outside? It gets all fogged up, right? Okay. Yes, Damon says he's not scared. His ancestors made him very tough. My ancestors made me very tough too. Right outside where I live, my grandfather almost died in a fishing accident in the 1950s. He swam and saved his own life. Yeah, I come from hardy stock. It's global climate change. The fog is global climate change. It was 50, it was beyond 50 degrees today. Oh my gosh, I just picked up the Death Book by Sadhguru. I have not read this book. I'm just going to turn to a page. Warren saying, there's reasons why things happen, right? I mean, I shouldn't exist. Maybe you shouldn't exist either. It's like by some freak of nature you exist, right? Sadhguru, I have not read this book. I think I'm intimidated by this book, but I remember when it came out, and I'm not sure if it's available in the States. I just found it randomly in a take what you want bookshelf. And yet here we are, right? So let me just see what Sadhguru has to say. A lot of you know I met Sadhguru in 1998. We were kind of friends, and nobody knew who he was, and all of us that used to hang out with Sadhguru in Nashville were like, we need to tell people about this guy. Pre-internet, really. The internet was just getting started at that time. And changed my life. Oh my gosh. And before I met Sadhguru, I remember I was home, I was doing readings in Nashville, and I said out loud, I need a teacher. What do they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears? Let's see what he has to say here. In ancient times, there was a lot of community support for people to consciously take the step of running the body down and leaving gracefully when the time came. In the Jain community, for example, they had a practice called Salakana or Santara. The Hindus have something similar called Prayopavesa. In this tradition, when someone felt they had approached the stage of leaving their bodies, if they were so conscious they could decide for themselves, it was perfectly acceptable. If someone was not aware, then they consulted all the people around, including the family, the elders of the community, and their spiritual head. People then discussed and debated this. Let's say someone gives an application saying, I think it's time for me to do Salakana or Prayopavesa. So they would debate, discuss, and say, no, this is not the time for you. Why do you want to do this? They would list out all the things that were yet to happen in the person's life and all the responsibilities that he or she had to fulfill. But the person says, no, I think I have done enough of that. My body is not letting me stay. I need to go. Then they would say, we have to consult so-and-so, who is considered to be a spiritual head of the community. They would consult him together and decide, okay, I think it's time for this person to go. Maybe not now, but next year. So he or she would decide to go the following year based on the society's advice. They would then be formally initiated into a process by the spiritual head. The process itself could be long drawn and in many stages. At each stage, the spiritual head would review the progress and make sure that this was really the right thing for this person. Even if there was the slightest doubt about it, it would be called off and the person would be taken off of it. Let us say this was about me. Maybe I will say, okay, in another 6 months I want to leave. So I may consult people at the yoga center. I think I have done enough. You are taking care of the yoga center wonderfully. I don't think Davy needs me, or the Diana Linga needs me, or anyone needs me. I think it's time for me to go in a year's time. They say, no, no, Sadhguru, you must be here. I say, okay, how long? They say, Sadhguru, another 20 years. I say, no, no, max 3 years. If everyone is mature or conscious enough, we can talk about this and arrive at something. Otherwise, you just utter the word death and all hell will break loose. He's speaking about the soul. It's, you know, just facing death in my family right now. It's just, I mean, it's kind of it's a fascinating, it's really fascinating. And we don't talk about it. And in the Indian tradition, they really do talk about it. They really do ponder it. If it's not the right time for a soul to leave, then the soul will not leave. So they actually consult with a spiritual head, a spiritual, you know, master to decide that. I am going to read this book. There just comes a time in life, you know, and you know, we're ending the year. My dad's passing. He won't make it into much of the new year. We're entering into a new year, and we have to be reminded that we're not here forever. It's very interesting to see someone transition. I mean, I really had an experience with that today. It was very powerful. He's still with us, but it's just, you know, very powerful to be in that time, to be present. And I'm glad I get to talk about it with all of you. We don't want to live as if we're eternal. We really want to live as if every day is our last day, right? Carpe diem. But we don't go until it's really time, right? I wrote a page. I was just processing my emotions, and I wrote an entire page, and it was interesting because I needed to really embrace like the phase of life that is. I need to embrace it, especially when someone's had a full life and they've had an excellent life, like Jimmy Carter, right? That's a complete life. My dad taught me to be kind. That's a complete life, right? That's a big, especially nowadays, that's a big deal. And also taught me what really true devotional love is with my mom. They've been married 65 years. 65 years. So devoted and there. And you know, just like Jimmy Carter, you know, it's like just doing the right thing. Kindness, right? But when it's your time to go, I mean, I wrote a whole like little essay for myself called, and I entitled it, There is a Graciousness in Death. There really is. There's a graciousness in death. Yep. When you're only called to go home when it's time. So I think it's really important that we take, you know, there's a Buddhist phrase that says constantly remember death. I think it's really important to take into the new year. We're not here forever. Sadhguru would say that to us often. People act like they're going to live forever, like they have all this time. Wayne Dyer, I should read from Wayne Dyer. I'll grab a Wayne Dyer book off the shelf. Wayne Dyer said frequently, don't die with your music still in you, which reminds me all the time. I got a lot of songs I need to record. But it could be anything. I'm going to read to you from, what next? What's grabbing me? This is one of my favorite authors of all time, Stuart Wilde. Stuart Wilde and Wayne Dyer were friends. Wayne Dyer was friends with a lot of great spiritual teachers. Deepak Chopra is still with us. He was one. I felt like when Wayne Dyer died, and he died kind of like really unexpectedly. Isn't death a birth too? Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Can't even tell you how many times I feel people from the other side communicating with people here, myself included. Stuart Wilde's first book, I don't know, I hope I didn't lose it, was called The Force. I got the music in me. Yeah. Let it out. This is called the quickening. And I want to mention too, just because what I'm doing tonight is reading from spiritual books. The best spiritual books, for some really weird reason, I don't know why, to me, my opinion, in the 1990s. It was just like this explosion of really great spiritual books, and so many of them are written just really, they're easy to read, they're really easy to understand. Let's see what we can see from Stuart Wilde. Okay, let's see. In mechanical man mode, that's just being like on automatic pilot. In mechanical man mode, you can easily get sucked into mass hysteria. I think I turned to an appropriate page. In mechanical man mode, you can easily get sucked into mass hysteria. In spirit man mode, or woman, you would see war is undesirable. But since most of the world is uncomfortable and frustrated with itself, war follows naturally. I shouldn't laugh, but he has a funny way of putting things. Since most of the world is uncomfortable and frustrated with itself, war follows naturally. I want to say about that too. The people that are most evil are very uncomfortable and frustrated with themselves. It's a part of people's growth. You would know that for the masses, there are precious few opportunities for metaphysical experiences. I hope that's changing. For most people, there are precious few opportunities for metaphysical experiences. It is though that it is through these different experiences that are metaphysical that many people feel for a brief moment a connectedness to all things. Why would you not have that? So Stuart Wilde is talking about the quickening as a quickening of your vibration. To sustain the quickening within, one has to begin to dry clean one's feelings from emotional attachments and needs. This involves giving up those areas of opinion that no longer serve. Each place where one is emotionally attached creates a line, like a grappling hook, that binds one to the consciousness of TikTok. Back, in Stuart Wilde's day, TikTok was kind of like automatic pilot. To go beyond, one has to disengage. Otherwise, the weight of emotional concerns do not allow one to rise above the plateau of comfort into a consciousness that develops critical mass. The power needed to accelerate you past your current state is great indeed, and the more stripped of emotion you are, the less opinions you hold, the less rigidity you create, then the more your ability to break out of the gravitational grip of the collective consciousness, of the collective. Consciousness is enhanced by the lightness of your load. You can't be different and hold the same feelings as the mass of people. I just was talking about that. When you're hearing things in the news, crazy stuff that's like, what are you talking about? We're going to live in a world like that? No. You have to remove yourself from that mass consciousness. Really, really important. So we have to create an emotional barrier between ourselves and the world. Be in the world, but not of the world. It's a psychic demarcation zone through which no emotion will pass. There's that theme again. It becomes the buffer between you and life's circumstances. So you need to create an emotional barrier to establish a difference between your metaphysical world and the rest of the world that doesn't know about metaphysics. It becomes a buffer between you and life's circumstances. So you just, like I was just talking about that too, you shall not pass. Don't let the emotion, the negative emotions, into your, or the mass consciousness, into your zone. have a psychic demarcation zone through which none of that will get in. That's Stuart Wilde. Pick up the book, The Force. I recommend thrift books for these old books. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go over here and grab a couple of other books. So talk amongst yourselves, have a drink, make a snack. It'll just be like not even a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. How y'all doing? Did you get a snack? We have about 45 minutes to go. Are you staying up to ring in the new year? I used to go out very late and then I just do an hour at a club or something. I might do that. We'll see. Just to ring in the new year. I'm enjoying our party. Some thrift stores in your area have stopped selling books. Well, people read a lot online. I'm happy to report that my city that I live in has been building a brand new library. Expanding the library, which is really exciting. Okay, I have a book, How to Expand Love, the Dalai Lama. Let's see what we turn to. Excuse me. I'm drinking beer, so I'm burping. Okay. Compassion as seed, water, and harvest. Compassion is crucial in the beginning, middle, and consummation of spiritual practice. It is like the seed of enlightenment. You need water, earth, and nutrients to grow crops, whether rice, barley, corn, or wheat. A rice seed can serve only as a cause of a rice shoot and cannot grow barley, so it is the uncommon cause of rice. Similarly, a compassionate motivation is the uncommon cause of the highest enlightenment, and thus it becomes the foundation of spiritual practice like a seed. It is the beginning. Full enlightenment means that you are in the continual presence of great compassion. Therefore, you will not remain in solitary peace, but will always be fully engaged in the welfare of others. Like the ripened state of a harvest to be enjoyed by multitudes, this is the importance of great compassion in the end. Concern for others is a willingness to bear the burden of helping them achieve their own happiness. Such a courageous, unparalleled, altruistic assumption of this burden leads over time to aspiring to the levels of spiritual development in order to serve more effectively. Now, isn't this beautiful? You know, we were talking about Jimmy Carter earlier. I love this line. Full enlightenment means that you are in the continual presence of great compassion, Therefore, you will not remain in solitary peace, but will always be fully engaged in the welfare of others. And concern for others is a willingness to bear the burden of helping them to achieve their own happiness. So this is how to expand love from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Well, the Dalai Lama is still with us. I was thinking about him today. He must be really up there in age, I would think. The late great Wayne Dyer, he left us too soon. He and Louise Hay I think they passed the same year. Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay. And nobody knew they were going to die. They just went to sleep and died. Let's see what Wayne has to say. From Happiness is the Way. Let's see. How healthy can you be? Wayne says, one of my arguments with the way medicine is practiced in the world today can be seen if we imagine a line with 3 points, A, B, and C. Point A represents illness and absence of health. Point B represents normal, that is, nothing's wrong with us. Point C represents complete possibilities, total potential for health. This is as healthy as we can get. Almost all medicine in the United States is practiced between points A and B. A represents illness. B represents normal. All right. You don't see a doctor unless you've got something wrong with you, and then you go and tell them about your symptoms. I've got sniffles, I've got a fever, my arm hurts, whatever it may be. This is a way Western medicine is practiced, getting you from your affliction to where you don't have any more symptoms. There's another way to do it, which is actually how most medicine should be practiced in my view. Certainly, if you have a gallbladder that needs to be taken out, you should have it taken out. But for the most part, focusing on the area between point B, which is feeling normal, and point C, which is your maximum potential for health, would be a fantastic way to practice medicine. Preventative, holistic, humanistic, behavioral medicine is starting to gather momentum across the United States, and that's wonderful. But imagine that you were able to use the field of medicine in terms of getting healthier instead of getting rid of sickness. How healthy can you possibly be? So he's advocating for a holistic approach. I guess this book came out, let me see. I love Wayne Dyer, 2019. I thought he died before that. Happiness is the Way. His book, There's a Spiritual Solution to Every Problem, is excellent too. I love that one. Okay, now I'm going to read from, how you guys doing? You're not going crazy, you're just waking up. You never saw, I did see Wayne Dyer once. I saw him with Carolyn Mace. I'd read from Carolyn Mace, but I don't think I have anything of hers handy. Your soul has long sought its true nature and its true home, God and heaven. Since your soul is under the false perception that it is somehow separate from God, it has created what is often called the soul's journey, which is a journey like all others, a quest to find a treasure or to solve a mystery. In this case, the soul seeks to learn and heal that which it perceives to be its imperfections. In other words, the soul focuses on healing any unhealed wounds from the past and or learning more about its true identity. And here's a quote. Maybe the still small voice we are waiting to hear is already in the details of our lives, especially the details we wish would go away and leave us alone. You're planning on borrowing this book that you're reading? Wow! Somebody gave me this book when I was going through a really rough, dark night of the soul. Your soul knows when you are living in conflict and are not pursuing your higher good. That was the problem. Your soul will do something, or eventually anything, to wake you up and get you back on track. It usually starts with soft, gentle whispers. Psst, wake up, dear one. It's time to alter or release the bad dream you've been having or living and wake up to a new life. Of course, if that doesn't work, the soul may say, hey, you, get up and move your ass and don't look back. You may feel as though you're going crazy, having a meltdown, or even having anxiety attacks, all of which can make you feel as if you won't survive. We're going through that collectively, right? Nevertheless, you can and will survive the process if you just allow yourself to trust and recognize what's really going on. You are not going crazy. You were crazy, and now you're finally becoming sane. You were asleep, and now you are waking up. It's your destiny to thaw out from the numb life you've been living and discover your soul's purpose. This is you can screenshot it if you want it. If you want to, Michael Mirdad. It's Mirdad. You're not going crazy. You're just waking up. See it? All right. Well, that was good. I have tarot cards in front of me if you guys want to ask me anything. We're not going to spend the rest of the time doing that. But since the cards are right in front of me, you can ask me something. About the new year. Happy New Year from Texas. You love the idea of discovering your soul's purpose? Your soul's purpose is usually, this is what I know. The things that have just always pulled you in and always, yes, Warren, the 2024 election will be decertified. Yes, Kamala has her cabinet picked up. Will your mother retire from her job? And you have to get a personal reading for personal questions. No politics. Michael's requesting no politics tonight. I will choose some collective cards for the community too. We can do that right now. 3 cards for the collective for the year. We already did a fairy card. I don't know about the special moon on Monday. The moon is special every day. We had a new moon yesterday. Will the PNW be hit? Yeah, I've seen an earthquake. I think it's going to be a series of earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to pick 3 cards for the collective for the start of the year. How's that? Yes, I see a series of small earthquakes. I think in the Pacific Northwest, the buildings are built for it. Just on December 26th, we had the 20-year anniversary of that tsunami. It's a horrible day. That was a terrible thing. 3 cards for the collective. We are letting go. We're moving into a time where we're letting go of the horribleness. We're letting go of the horribleness. We're letting go of the horribleness. We have to visualize it. The Hangman is indicating that we will have a time of surrendering to the higher power. That means we'll keep on focusing on what we want. And then, we do what we need to do. And we know that it will work. That's the Hangman. And the Ten of Cups is about, we have a lot of good to look forward to. I know that it might seem like it's not that way, but that's, remember the helium balloon meditation we just did? Send it off. And really just kind of think about, it doesn't even feel right to think about a horrible fascist taking over our government, right? It doesn't even feel like real. So there's that. Let's read from Ernest Holmes. This is 365 Science of Mind. You all know that every Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, p.m., we have Church of Spirituality. Yeah, the new moon was yesterday. Did you watch PNN? Oh, let me show you this, which happened to be in this book. This is from, gosh, I wish I knew what year this was. Probably 1999. This is a Dhyana Lingam, which is in India. It's a scientifically engineered structure that has the highest frequency that can be contained. And when you're in the presence of the Dhyana Lingam, I can't describe it. You attain enlightenment. And this is literally, Sadhguru signed this. May you know bliss. Happy New Year. Love and blessings, Jaggi. We used to call him Jaggi. So there you have it. You have Sadhguru magic right there. I believe that was 1999. It's very special. I should frame it. Okay. From Ernest Holmes, The Science of Mind. Yeah, not many people have a card signed by Sadhguru, signed Jaggi. That's his name. I'm very, very blessed. Let's see. We're going to go to the last day of the year, because this is 365. Yeah, there's 2 new moons this month. I know that you're all talking about the moon. Yeah, the full moon and, the new moon in Capricorn was yesterday, and it's a really great time. The new moon and New Year's Eve, just the same time frame. Powerful stuff. Make sure you write your intentions out. This is a prayer for world peace from 365 Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. I'm going to read about Ernest Holmes first in case you don't know. Ernest Holmes lived from 1887 to 1960, was an internationally recognized authority on religious psychology and the founder of the religious science movement. There are currently hundreds of churches and spiritual centers across the country that are based on his teaching, and 3 international organizations dedicated to his philosophy. Holmes' writings and philosophy have influenced countless teachers and authors and have inspired millions. His beloved books include The Science of Mind, This Thing Called You, Creative Mind and Success, The Art of Life, or also called This Thing Called Life, Love and Law, Prayer, The Hidden Power of the Bible, The Essential Ernest Holmes, and 365 Science of Mind. You can find more information about Ernest Holmes and his teachings at scienceofmind.com. What I'm reading to you tonight is life-changing. These books have changed my life. Definitely enhanced it and enriched it. On December 31st, Ernest Holmes has a prayer for world peace. Deep breath and take it in. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. We know there is but one mind, which is the mind of God, in which all people live and move and have their being. We know there is a divine pattern for humanity, and within this pattern there is infinite harmony and peace, cooperation, unity, and mutual helpfulness. We know that the mind of humankind is being one with the mind of God, shall discover the method, the way, and the means best fitted to permit the flow of divine love between individuals and nations. Thus, harmony, peace, cooperation, unity, and mutual helpfulness are experienced by all. We know there will be a free interchange of ideas, of cultures, of spiritual concepts, of ethics, of educational systems, and scientific discoveries, for all good belongs to all alike. We know that because Divine Mind has created us all, we are bound together in one infinite and perfect unity. We know that all people and all nations will remain individual, but unified for the common purpose of promoting peace, happiness, harmony, and prosperity. We know that deep within each person, the divine pattern of perfect peace is already implanted. We now declare that in each person and in leaders of thought everywhere, this divine pattern moves into action and form to the end that all nations and all peoples will live together in peace, harmony, and prosperity forever. And so it is. I like to tell people or to remind people if they don't know of Ernest Holmes. There he is. There's Ernest. Amazing metaphysician. During the time that he lived, this world was in complete chaos. But he came up with the science of mind. Mary Baker Eddy came up with Christian Science. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore came up with the Unity Church, and so many others. Just these amazing metaphysicians. Ernest Holmes, these are all old books. Ernest Holmes died in 1960. I donate $10 a month to Science of Mind Archives, and I always draw readings from Ernest Holmes for Church of Spirituality, my church that I've invented on its 5th year now. Wow, really. This I picked up at a store. This is like just at some kind of a thrift store. On Beginning from Within. Let's see what we have here. Walt Whitman was attending a funeral one day. Just ahead of him, a girl of 14 was standing before the open casket as though she were transfixed. Walt Whitman put his arm on her shoulder and spoke to her. "You don't understand that, do you?" he asked gently. And as she dully answered no, Whitman added, "Neither do I." And they moved on together. I like that. I'm just going to leave that one there. Okay. I'm going to go back to Toni Stone, because she's got some great spiritual mind treatments. Let's read this. It's called Being Free of Unworkable Ways. Thank you for your lovely comments. I apologize, I can't read them all. And this starts with a quote. I don't know who this is, who wrote this quote, but it goes like this. To understand is to see the way things belong together, to see why they are together. Understanding relates to underlying patterns, relationships, meanings, the urge to understand ourselves. And the world is one of the noblest and most powerful motivations. Oh, the Black Eyed Peas! I learned about that when I lived in the South. Michael's mentioned it. Michael's in Florida. So every year, on New Year's Day, you eat Black Eyed Peas with a ham hock, right? And you sterilize a coin, a dime, and you try not to swallow it if you get the dime. But if you get the dime, when you're eating your Black Eyed Peas, you're gonna have a very prosperous year. That's how that goes. Okay, people are starting to drop off. Don't leave yet. I'm going to say I, and I want you to make this personal to you. Or turnip greens. Turnip greens are great too. Okay, so make this personal to you. Actually, I'm going to say you, so you can really take it in. In the space of wisdom and quiet, you can see how far you've come. You notice what worked in its time and what didn't work very well. You are grateful for high perspective to see the whole circle. Power of observation is at work, and you gather strength from the deep. Informed by light of understanding, you are set free of unworkable ways. Wisdom of quiet overview is yours to use. Understanding prevails. Life potential gathers here with you. You are free. A world of possibility opens to your view, being free. Excellence on new horizons is possible. You are free of unworkable ways. All right. I want you to all feel free right now. If you have a favorite spiritual book, to put it in the chat. Put the title of your favorite spiritual book in the chat. That would be kind of cool. I'm going to read to you some more affirmations. And this is an interesting one because this is about accepting help. Starting out, you are willing to be contributed to. You accept help from others, and you are still distinct as yourself. You accept help from others. You don't claim to be better than others. You accept help from others. They know that you want things better. You accept help from others. You are free to be helped. You accept help from others. They are welcome to know you. You accept help from others. You look at new information. You accept help from others. Opportunities become stimulating. You accept help from others. No obligation is required. You accept help from others. It's okay to depend on others. You accept help from others. They are a contribution to you. Instead of being devoted to doing things only on your own and in only your own way, you are now devoted to getting results. You make plenty of opportunities to receive help and encouragement. When you have people helping you with your plans, you get results. You are generous and magnanimous. You are eager to prosper others, and you do. Others are happy and vitalized by prospering you. Everyone prospers you. Success expands. You happily share your increasing wealth. Everybody helps you grow. You know that your speaking has creative and prospering power. People bring you good unceasingly. You are always expressing generosity in new ways. The spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. Good comes from all the people around you. Your assumptions about others create interactions and results. Today you assume what you intend. Other people respond to your thinking about them by acting just like I say they will. Your demands of life are expressed in your daily speaking of life. In life, you get what you want, and what you expect shows up faithfully. All right, I noticed that people are putting up their favorite books. I like that. We're going to start winding down. And I'm going to just go back to my bookshelf, so hang tight. Hang tight. Be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, I feel like I want to read a little bit from Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I recommend this book to so many people. This once again, this is an old book. The author is no longer with us. I've said this to several people that know me. The saddest thing that I ever see in my readings work and my spiritual life coaching work, and if somebody's enrolled in spiritual life coaching with me, it means they're working on it. The saddest thing I ever see people do in life is not do. Yeah, Barbara liked this book. And what I mean is, and I just want to share with you that this is what I've learned. I'm going to write a book eventually about what I've learned about human beings. And after doing really thousands of readings and working with thousands of people over the 30 plus years I've been in this work, excuse me, the number one most tragic thing that I see in people's lives, if they're doing this, and we all do it to some degree, is people that just decide that it's not worth it. It's not worth it to engage. Life betrayed them. They got too much trauma, and people that never go for it. I think it's just the greatest tragedy. So let's all make an effort this year to go beyond where we think we can go. Yeah, work on public speaking. Like really, I mean, because the reason that so many people are depressed, and I really know and believe this in my heart and soul and from my own experience, is we have something that's like Wayne Dyer said, don't die with your music still in you. You have, your soul knows it has something that it needs to express. Life is too short, right? It's a theme tonight. There's some reasons for that. We're at the end of the year for one. The depression is, I don't know who I am, I don't know my purpose, and just staying. You see, as a hospice volunteer, yeah, good for you. Deciding to just stay home and not go out into the world, the most tragic thing I ever bear witness to because of some past hurt or trauma. We can always do the work. So let's make sure that we don't isolate this year. That's my suggestion. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay. If everybody feels fear when approaching something totally new in life, yet so many are out there doing it despite the fear, then we must conclude that fear is not the problem. Obviously, the real issue has nothing to do with the fear itself, but rather how we hold the fear. For some, the fear is totally irrelevant. For others, it creates a state of paralysis. The former hold their fear from a position of power, and the latter hold it from a position of pain, helplessness, depression, and paralysis. It can be seen on there's a chart, that the secret in handling fear is to move yourself from a position of pain to a position of power. The fact that you have the fear then becomes irrelevant. Okay? I'm going to read this again. The secret in handling fear is to move yourself from a position of pain to a position of power. The fact that you have the fear then becomes irrelevant, hence the name of the book. I'm going to give you just a little more from this. The kind of power I'm talking about leaves you free, since you don't expect the rest of the world to fill you up. It's not the ability to get someone else to do what you want them to do. It's the ability to get yourself to do what you want to do. If you do not own this kind of power, you lose your sense of peace. You are in a very vulnerable place. I have found that women are more put off than men are by the concept of power for obvious reasons. Men have been conditioned to believe that to be powerful is good. Women have been conditioned to believe that to be powerful is unfeminine and unattractive. And then she says, it's my experience that nothing could be farther from the truth. A self-assured woman who is in control of her life draws like a magnet. She is so filled with positive energy that people want to be around her. Yet it is only when she has become powerful within herself that she can become authentic and loving to those around her. The truth is that love and power go together. With power, one can really begin to open up the heart. With no power, love is distorted. For the women reading this book or listening, a good antidote to any inner conflict between power and femininity is to repeat to yourself at least 25 times each morning, noon, and night. I am powerful and I am loved. I am powerful and I am loving. And I am powerful and I love it. Say these 3 statements aloud right now. Men and women, say it out loud. I am powerful and I am loved. I am powerful and I am loving. I am powerful and I love it. Okay? I'm going to say them again because they're so fun. All together. I am powerful and I am loved. I am powerful and I am loving. I am powerful and I love it. Yes. Excellent book. Everybody should have this book. This book was written by me, and it's available on Amazon. This book came out in 2013? 2013, I'm sorry. Hang on. I'm just going to read to you from my book. Yes, I wrote a book. And as you may have been able to tell by now, as long as you've been with me and following me, I love you guys so much. You have no idea. Barbara has my book. You got some good affirmations, right? It's available on Amazon, yes. And it's on, I think it's on my website. I gotta check. Page 25, negative thinking is bad for your health. Imagine the above statement is a headline you read in the news today. In actuality, it is true. Countless studies on the mind-body connection point to a great deal of evidence that negative, fearful, and stressed out thought forms create a wide range of problems in the physical system. Habitual patterns of negative thought have been traced to problems in specific areas of the body. The powerful book, You Can Heal Your Life, which we read from, by Louise Hay, addresses this poignantly. In her groundbreaking piece of work, Louise Hay describes thought patterns that can result in negative effects on specific areas of the body. Louise offers statements or affirmations to assist in self-healing. Reading and writing the statements can help clear the affliction. I have personally found every statement I used from Louise's book to help heal illness and distress in my body. This is really true. When I reflect on the affirmation given in the book for a specific condition, often writing the statements down several times, the physical symptom improves and very often heals completely. Dis-ease that develops in our bodies throughout our lives is most often a physical response to prolonged stress. This is not great news when we think about how many unsupportive, unloving situations many of us can involuntarily find ourselves in. It can literally be a moment-to-moment challenge to keep our thoughts and in turn our bodies healthy. As an experiment, try this. Think about this message. This. You better watch out. Danger is lurking right around the corner. In your mind, conjure up some of the greatest dangers you can imagine, and now think, there is no escape, it will get you. This is what's being done to us in the collective, right? Better watch out. Danger is lurking right around the corner. Should we be worried about that? There's no escape, it will get you. Experiments in psychology have shown that the subconscious mind, like a small child, cannot tell the difference between a real and an imagined event. You most likely heard or even felt messages just like this when you were young, and you innocently took them as the reality of your world. Damon agrees. These negative ideas got set in your psyche like a computer program and are not coming out without a fight, or at least not without some very clever tactics. Remember, if the pictures we most often have in our minds bring on worrisome and unsupportive feelings for us, we are invariably setting a precedent for creating future stress, negative events, and even potential health problems. Thus, it is crucial to wake up to them and to change them. What the general population has neglected to tell you is this: we do not have to live every waking moment of our lives being tormented by a sinking feeling that all is not well and that life will probably get worse. We live amongst many, many people who believe this. It is advisable to not renew your membership to that club. You hear me preaching to you all the time about this stuff. I wrote the book. I literally wrote the book on it. And this book was written from all the many great teachers that I have been graced with in my life, learning from. What I'm going to do is give you a little bit of an exercise to do tonight and tomorrow. Remember to make your vision boards, right? What is it, Damon? You keep saying, oh my God. Remember to do your vision boards. It's new moon energy that we're in and the new year. And also, make it your New Year's resolution, please, to not dwell on negative thinking. I gave you those techniques from Alan Cohen earlier. In the same way, it's not possible to start to bake a cake or build a new house without the tools and ingredients. We must have supplies to begin with. We likely have a vast reservoir of negative ideas that have been thrown upon us our entire lives. It continues, right? These lists of the positives are an opportunity to cite only the good stuff. So what I want you to do is fill the positive bucket. That's what this is entitled, Fill the Positive Bucket. We can later read the list of the positives to right ourselves when we feel we are reeling into the abyss that often pulls us down, negatively impacting our attracting abilities. This tool can serve as the evidence we need to convince both our subconscious and conscious minds that the world is actually, thank you, Damon, the world is actually a safe, life-affirming, and loving place. It goes a step further than simply thinking positive. We can stockpile the good experiences and read them on a regular basis. Through this practice, we will subsequently discover as something of a bonus, perhaps, that what we put our focus on increases. Write down in your notebook every day things that occur that feel like little gifts to you. Like I just cited a few examples. A nice person genuinely smiled and opened the door for me and said good morning in a cheerful voice, starting the day on a positive note, thinking about my best friend and suddenly she called to make a lunch date. These are positive things. And so on and so forth. So fill the positive bucket. Definitely, for sure. So we're winding down. It's been almost 2 full hours. And I just want to thank you for being here. And I hope you have some good plans for ringing in the new year. And Don't let this time go by and just be like, nah, it's New Year's Eve. It's nothing bad. I don't do anything. New Year's Eve is so stupid. Let's not do that. Can we? Let's not do that. Okay? If you don't go out for New Year's Eve, so what? You don't have to make it all like negative. I hear so many people doing that. So let's do 3. 3 what? 3 hours? I would, but I have to check in with a family member. I really would. You know me. Moving into this new year, this is a message that I want to give you. That I know from my life experience that I am a soul that came here to really expand upon what I've learned in past lifetimes and to study it further and to bring that to other people. And you might also have the same purpose. It's not just like only me. And I'm astounded by how much I and others have submerged themselves in these kinds of teachings, especially in the 1990s for me. And that's when I met Sadhguru. And God's honest truth, it was to prepare us for this time that we're in. And so I encourage you to really dig into these materials, dig into the metaphysical research that's been done. Look up the Maharishi experiment where people meditated in a major metropolitan area and the crime rate went down measurably, consistently. And I just want everybody to know that we have the power to turn this country around. We have it. There's nothing in my being that believes that it's not going to occur the way that we know it needs to occur. I notice people are saying we should get together. I'm actually considering, speaking of getting out of my comfort zone, I want to do a group trip to Europe. Just throwing it out there. Towards the end of next year, I want to go visit the cathedrals. So we can talk about that through the year. Maybe we can do a group thing there. Barbara's coming. We have 1 participant so far. Who else wants to come? I know that there aren't a lot of people that understand metaphysics, but I do. If you go to Michael Beckwith, he does. He has Agape Church. I often watch Agape after I do my own Church of Spirituality. If you study this material, you're needed now. If you happen to be one of those people that has studied this material, dust off those old books. I hope I jogged your memory a bit with the books that I read from tonight. There are many more. We are being called to put what we know into action. Sadhguru said repeatedly, when 1% of the world's population becomes peaceful and meditative, we will save humanity. All right? So let's not look at what we studied, if we did, or if we want to. It's not woo-woo anymore. It's science. And Ernest Holmes got the memo on that from the divine in the time that he lived. There was a reason that they lived during the time between World War I and World War II, right? These people with their consciousness kept the world together. It wasn't just what the United States was doing in the war or the other. It wasn't just that. It was the consciousness shifted, and our consciousness is shifting. And I know there are enough people on this planet. I saw it with Kamala Harris. What a beacon of light that woman is. And Tim Waltz. Beacons of light shining brightly. The dark couldn't handle it. So the dark had to deceive us. But it's not going to last. The darkness will be destroyed by the light. There's nothing more powerful than us. All right? So do not go back to sleep. If you think you're going crazy, you're just waking up, like this book says. If you think the whole world is going crazy, we're just waking up. And I wish my channel was bigger because I really want more people to get the message. Believe me, I wish I was wealthy. I want to be wealthy only because I want to be able to do more of what I do. I don't care about material things. I just want to be able to do more, pay my bills, and do more of what I do. And I'm only saying more people need to know this material, but we do have enough that do know. So lead the way. Go find out what Jessica Denson is doing and go to DC if you can. Put my list of books on my community page. Yeah, I will. I'll put them in a stack and I'll take a picture. Yeah, we have to know, not just believe. This is not about believing, it's about knowing. Okay? I love you all so much. You have no idea. Thank you for donating. Whoever's donating to me, I appreciate it. Anyone who sent donations. There are people that used to be in the chat that can't get in right now. I have my new admin person who's helping me out as a favor, setting that up. And the memberships, if you're a member, you will be starting to receive affirmations as soon as we get it together. And I love you all. Pass the word. Let's grow this movement of the light to conquer the darkness. You are special. Give yourself a great big hug. Big hug. Thank you for all the love that you're sending to my family. We really need it right now to stay strong. Happy New Year. See you tomorrow night. Namaste. Bye.